Hi Capricorn, welcome to July 2018. I wanted to start this reading off for you by saying something that I love about you, because I think it's important for the message this month. One thing I love about a Capricorn, a good, mature Capricorn, is their ability to persevere through anything. And if a Capricorn sets its mind to something, it's almost a guarantee that that will come to fruition. But sometimes it does hinder you in some ways, because you can be so persistent about something that you lose track of what's really important. And it's more about the accomplishment of the goal rather than the reasoning behind it. And this month, I think you're going to come in contact with the reason is not as important as the completion. And so some of you are going to be really letting things go. One thing specifically, probably that's been a theme in your life for quite some time. With the sun coming across in Cancer, it is opposing your natal suns. And a sun-sun opposition is a time where authority really comes online. You could be having a challenge with a boss or a father or some kind of structure in your life. It is a time to remain pure of heart. Now with the sun opposing Saturn and Pluto, what we're all going through, huge major karmic cleansing. Mars retrograde is really indicating to not fight. Now is not a time to fight for stuff. It's a time to reflect on why something is important. It's a time to reflect on why you're fighting for that. And for many of you, you want more out of your life. You want more abundance. You want more happiness. And with Jupiter going direct this month, that is very much a possibility for you. And Taurus, Uranus in Taurus, and I said this, it's time for you guys to have happiness. It's time for you to have joy, you know? And your value for the big picture, okay, Venus coming into Virgo in your 9th house, it is about the big picture. Mercury going retrograde in your 8th house, it's about spirituality and very much about creation. As for those of you who purchased the comprehensive, you'll see how creation and creativity come into the picture. So it is going to be an interesting month. For those of you who are willing to let something go, this is the time of liberation. And for those of you who don't let something go, it is going to be a month of oppression. And it is going to be difficult, and it is going to be hard, because you are fighting against the natural flow. Okay? So let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right? I wish you guys nothing but the best. Thank you so much for being here. Take care. Hello, Capricorn. Welcome to July. So let's just hop right into it. This card fell out. So, okay, 10 of Wands in the reversal. This is an amazing time to lighten your load and to put your burdens behind you. You guys are notorious for overloading yourselves. I mean, you're Capricorn, like, of course, you know, you're the workhorses of the zodiac. You're always pushing yourself. You're always striving and achieving. And now is a time with this Mars retrograde and the upcoming Mercury retrograde and building up to eclipse season, it is now time to truly put the past behind you and to unburden yourself and to make your life as easy and simple and stress-free as possible. Like I'm sure I'll talk about in the intro, you know, you guys are kind of getting a double whammy. You know, sorry if I'm repeating myself. I'm doing this before I do the intro. So you guys are getting a little double whammy of, you've got a sun opposing sun with your natal sun, and you are also privy to the sun opposing Saturn, which happened yesterday, and sun opposing Pluto later on in the month. There's a lot going on for you, for sure. So, yes, the world, I think, is coming out reversed, because I think the build up to next month, it's sort of putting things in such a weird place, but that release will happen. Actually, I think it's going to be fairly quickly. Okay, I don't think this is a long, drawn out hiatus. Mars in retrograde does cause things to slow down, projects to not really move forward as quickly as we would like, and all sorts of things, you know, but it really, really is a great time to just enjoy the moment and to make this moment as enjoyable as possible, and to get what we can from the moment in terms of spiritual growth. You know, some of you are going to be hitting up against some pretty major brick walls, and that's to be expected with Saturn in your sign anyway. You know, these brick walls are not meant to be frustrating. They're not meant to be like, I know Capricorns, you every month that there's like a difficult reading, you know, every time that happens, you're like, oh man, it sucks to be Capricorn, or oh, this is so hard, or you know, like, why are we always the ones? Well, because your soul needed to go through this. Okay, I mean, plain and simple, your soul knows what it's doing. And it's not in your best interest to victimize yourself in any way, shape, or form, but to harness the energy and to grow as much as possible, because you have an ability to, surpass many of your peers in terms of your spirituality, because of the limitations that you experience in life. People that have easy lives, you know, they might not grow so much because they're not forced to, they don't have to. And so they kind of just stay that way all the time. It is through suffering that we grow. That's the Buddhist sort of tenet, right? One of the tenets of Buddhism is all of life is suffering, right? Like, yeah, it is, and it's that way for a reason. And as a sign ruled by Saturn, it is a karmic life in many ways. And so you do have to figure out how to break free from it. That's a task. That's on the table for you, and it is an option for you. And I think with the Ten of Wands reverse, that's exactly what that's saying. Breaking free from those restrictions. Oh, beautiful. Five of Swords reversed. I couldn't even have planned that any better if I tried. Breaking free from the bad habits, from the toxicity, breaking free from those battles that you know you cannot win. Breaking free from toxicity, especially toxic relationships, toxic clients. Okay, work and money is certainly a focus for you this month, because Mars is in your second house, house of money, plus the sun opposition. We look at where Leo is, because the sun is the ruler of Leo. So I do look at Leo, which is your 8th house, and that's other people's money. You know, that is a very spiritual, confusing, conflicted house as well. And but it also is the place where most of transformation occurs. Pluto's on the docket, you've got 8th house stuff, you've got Scorpio stuff going on, Jupiter going direct. I mean, there's so many, like, I could sit here for like hours and talk about it, right? And through all of it, you have new things. How it's so simple, you know, through the breaking free. Excuse me, I'm still a little bit sick. I've been sleeping like for the past 5 days straight. Through the breaking free situation, through the leaving it behind, the conscious decision to never again, you get new seeds, completely new directions, things that you never ever thought you would be really interested in, okay? As an example, she might be watching this. I have a friend who was a very successful professional in her field. She went through a nightmare of a lawsuit, a nightmare of a situation. She's still dealing with it. Completely lost everything, okay? And now she is becoming an artist. Now, whether she's doing it for fun or just for money, it's for fun, right? But she's tapping into a creative part of herself that her past profession, of course, was never. I mean, she was an attorney, right? So she's always in and out of courtrooms and dealing with lawyers and money and this and that and clients. And I mean, it was so opposite. Another friend of mine, Capricorn guy, is breaking free from his very toxic father. They own a business together. And just 2 days ago, he had the conversation, like, by year end, I'm out. Bought a house in Cabo San Lucas and is going to move down there and just live a very quiet life for himself. I mean, these are things that are happening for Capricorns right now. They're completely rewriting the scripting of their life. And how beautiful of a time it is. And I told you last month that it's time for you to enjoy your life. It's time for that to happen. Uranus in the 5th house. Like, it's time for you to feel happy. It's time for you to feel free. It's time for you to feel like you can live an authentic life, one that is not molded according to society's expectations, or your family's see, again, I couldn't have planned it any better if I tried with the Wheel of Fortune. Good things 100% are headed in your direction, but you have to break free from this stuff first. It has to happen first. You cannot in this instance, you cannot have your cake and eat it too, right? You can't keep things the same and have change in your life. It's physically not possible in this third dimension, right? In our perception of linear experience. Wheel of Fortune is not only good things, especially in terms of money and the physical material stuff, but also in the realm of spirituality. This is a card of, ruled by Jupiter, of course. Jupiter, we think of philosophy, we think of high level understanding, we think of so for example, okay, so let me talk about it this way, right? Jupiter is the planet of Sagittarius, and the story kind of is the sign right before Sagittarius, Scorpio, is a sign where the snake or the serpent sprouts wings and becomes the eagle. And Scorpio is that painful process of change. But Sagittarius is, okay, well, now I have my wings and now I can fly. And when I first got here to Montenegro, I did a weekly bump and I talked about all the butterflies that I was seeing. And I was like, wow, this must be a sign, this must be a symbol that people are learning how to fly and that they have already become the butterfly. And I think that's true very much for Capricorns. Now, you can be a butterfly and not fly. But if you choose to learn how to fly, you're going to see the world. That's why Sagittarius is like the explorer, right? Because they just, oh my gosh, I've never seen the world like this and I want to just see everything. That's why Sagittarius has that reputation for being such an adventurer, and there's long distance travel and there's always foreign experiences and foreign languages and all that kind of thing is associated with that sign. It's kind of the sort of symbology behind it. And that's your time, And Jupiter is coming online as it goes direct on July 10th. You guys are going to feel an urge to break free. Not only, I think someone told me November 8th, if I'm remembering correctly. November 8th, Jupiter enters Sagittarius. November 8th, Jupiter comes in, and in your 12th house, you are going to, I think, Jupiter in 12th house can be a little bit interesting depending on how it manifests in your life, but some of you are going to feel extremely restless, and you are going to want to go, 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 and you're going to want to break free. You know, so you're building up to that, wanting to break free. And some of you by year end, all the stuff that's plaguing you now will completely be gone. You're going to make that happen. Four of Pentacles is a card of staying firm, staying true to your convictions. Yeah, Three of Swords, of course. It's a necessary evil. This is certainly, I'm sure, not something you want to do. You know, it wasn't your original path. It wasn't what you originally sent out. It wasn't your original intention, you know. It was just something that went wrong, you know, it went a different way. And there's cleansing that comes with the Three of Swords, because we do have the rainstorms, you know, we do have the thunderclouds. Internally, you may still feel stormy. Internally, you may still be having internal thunderstorms as you are breaking free, perhaps from an authority figure, from a societal structure. There is always a sense of loss that comes with that, because it's a loss of a past self. And as much as we like to think like, oh yeah, I can totally change and I can totally embrace who I am, and who I'm becoming, and I'm excited for the future, and yada, yada, yada. And yeah, I mean, that's amazing and that's great, but it still sometimes feels like you're losing something. Don't be afraid to let people down at this time. It'll be good for them too. People rely on Capricorns, I think, way too much. You know, like, the Capricorn will handle it. They'll take care of it. Don't worry. The Capricorn will take the lead. In many ways, you guys are leaders. You know, it's like one of the signs that's most associated with CEOs in, you know, corporate business worlds. Like, yeah, Capricorn, because they are natural born leaders. They take the risks. They do the things that a lot of people don't want to do. They spend the time that people don't want to spend. That's why you guys have success in your life. And sometimes the things you have to do in order to achieve success is disappoint people. And that's perfectly fine, and you're perfectly within your right to do that. You know, that's kind of an essence of your free will. But what's good for your soul, right? The Ace of Wands is like, let me out. Take me. I'm wanting to express myself. Mercury retrograde in Leo, expression is coming online. Wanting to express ourselves. Wanting to be heard. And having something relevant to say. Okay, yes, a spiritual evolution for sure, spiritual shifting, and justice. Of course, the natural law coming in line, because something needs to break very clearly. Some kind of tie, some kind of connection, some kind of something needs to break. And because the sign of Cancer is your 7th house, you know, that is a house of partnerships, relationships, you plus one other person. It doesn't always have to be romantic, guys, okay? It can be friendships or whatever. But you plus another person. So clearly this is something that is like you and someone else. It could be you and a client, you and a boss, you and a friend, you and a parent. Especially the more masculine influences like fathers, okay? Or more masculine positions like a boss, right? More leadership positions. When I say masculine, guys, I don't mean for men. I mean a masculine energy, one that gives orders, gives directives, not that it has to be occupied by a man, okay? So justice is about things becoming right. These work so well together. I mean, these are like number 10 and number 11. They're like tied at the hip. This one is very, very positive. This one is also positive, but it's a little more harsh. And to be honest, I think you are going to need to be harsh and honest. You just have to. And I think Capricorn they do that very well. They're very diplomatic in that sense, unless that person has some kind of a difficult Mars, Mercury, or Uranus aspect or something, and the diplomacy can kind of fly out the window in that case. But if you are a more diplomatic Capricorn, you're very, very good at saying, look, this is how it is, and being very real with people. That's all earth signs are very good at, being real. And if it has to be harsh, then it's harsh, but at least it's honest. And it's the only way for the scales to balance. Clearly, you have had the shit thrown against the wall, you know, no doubt about it. And I did a weekly bump yesterday. Weekly bumps are tapping into the collective consciousness, and I just do kind of some philosophical stuff every week. And this past week yesterday I did it on 2019, building up to 2019 and a very major transit that hasn't occurred in like over 500 years. That's going to happen in 2020 with Saturn and Pluto coming conjunct in the sign of Capricorn. And at the same time, it's like the same time that the sun is like right there as well. So, I mean, you're building up to something really big in your sign. 2019 is going to be a time of forward motion, okay? Not major stuff. You're going to have an opportunity to do over, right? To do again the things that didn't go so well this year. And even right now with the Mars retrograde, I do feel like there is something that you're having an opportunity to finally get right. Maybe something that has been lingering for the past couple years. So now's the time to say it. Now's the time to do it. It's in Aquarius. Aquarius is about words just as much as Gemini. It's about words and communication. And it's about action, you know, and it is about the greater good. And if your soul is feeling afflicted, that's not for the greater good. You know, liberation and setting yourself free from this burden is for the greater good of humanity, right? We need people to be happy. Let me... It really is your time to shine, you guys. It really is your time to find happiness and to be in a place of pleasure. There's a card of Aquarius. In a way, you guys are very Aquarian-like because of your Saturn co-rulership. Saturn is very directed. Hermit. Hermit, man. I'm trying to get rid of all the Virgo energy, but it just doesn't seem to be wanting to go away. And I thought about this for a minute, and I was like, is it just because I'm a Virgo and that's why it keeps coming out for me? Is that why? And then I really had like kind of a little bit of an epiphany, right? And why Virgo is kind of always this constant energy that continuously comes out over and over and over. You may be dealing with the Virgo, sure, but like, why is that? There are certain signs that are really connected, and I would say like Scorpio, Virgo, and Aquarius are really connected. I would say Capricorn and Aquarius are really connected. Pisces and Sagittarius really connect, you know, and there's of course co-rulership planets and things like that. But the Virgo energy is so pinnacle because it really represents the perfection of self and self-mastery. It represents the absolute best version of ourselves that we possibly can be. And it also represents coming to a point of true understanding of who we are through the process of giving. And I suspect that you, Capricorn, have given a lot to whatever this was. And in that process, whether you were conscious of it or not, you have learned a huge amount about yourself. Learning about yourself is essentially learning about the universe. It's learning about life, what life is. It's learning about our interconnectedness, which is why meditations and things are so paramount. And anyone that is ignoring meditations, especially now at this time of existence, this time of the human existence, is actually kind of working against human progress right now because they're not tuning in to the oneness at a time when oneness needs to be at the forefront of every decision that we make now on an individual level, which is why you do need to break free from this, which is why you do need to allow yourself to disappoint someone. You need to go through that loss or whatever, right? Because your happiness is contributing to the happiness of the world. Your negativity is contributing to the negativity of the world, right? So it is your responsibility. So here we have the Hermit. King of Swords is very connected, I think, with justice in this instance. You need stability, clearly, and you do need to say what you need to say. You need to slay the dragons. Now is a time to be extremely real. And when I say real, I don't mean like the very typical earth sign reality, like keeping it real. In a way, what is actually real is even seemingly magical. It's like sci-fi type stuff. You know, keeping it real is being extremely responsible for your energy and saying if I'm in a negative place, I'm in a negative mindset, then I'm contributing to the negativity of the world, and to put that responsibility on your shoulders so that you pressure yourself enough to actually change, make the changes needed. Do I make sense? Hopefully I make some sense. So a lot to clarify in the comprehensive. We have the Five of Swords, Ten of Wands for sure, especially the Ace of Swords and the Three of Swords. Sorry, Ace of Wands and the Three of Swords. Hermit will get clarified as well. I may even clarify the Wheel of Fortune too, to kind of see what's coming for you and whatever roadblocks that are kind of keeping you from bringing that on sooner rather than later. So a lot to talk about there. All right, you guys, I hopefully will see you there. If not, I will see you next month. Take care. Bye-bye.